There comes a moment in every woman's life when the world around her finally grows quiet. The noise fades, the responsibilities shift, and for the first time in a long time, she can hear something else, her own truth. If you are in your 60s or older, this video is for you. But it is not just another list of things to avoid. It is something deeper. It is a loving conversation from one wise woman to another about the quiet ways we lose ourselves and how to gently take ourselves back. Because aging is not about fading, it is about unfolding. And there are small silent habits that can steal your joy without you even realizing it. But once you see them, you can choose differently. You can choose peace. You can choose freedom. And most of all, you can choose you. In the next few minutes, we are going to explore 8 things many women do after turning 60 that quietly chip away at their happiness and sense of self. We will talk about how to let go of what no longer serves you and how to step fully into this powerful chapter of life. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let us begin. You deserve this time. You deserve this truth. You deserve a life that feels like you again. Stop worrying about your children's every move. There is a beautiful kind of love that only a mother can know. It begins the moment she first holds her child. And somehow it never stops growing. Even when her children are grown, even when they have their own families and careers, that love still beats strong inside her chest. But here is the hard truth. Constant worrying does not protect them, it only hurts you. Many women in their 60s and 70s continue to carry their children's burdens as if they were their own. They lie awake at night, thinking about their adult daughter's rocky marriage. They quietly pay for their son's overdue bills. They worry about their grandchildren's futures, their health, their education, their happiness. And while all of that comes from a deeply loving place, it can slowly drain a woman of her peace, her strength, and her ability to enjoy her own life. Let me tell you about Lorraine, a 71-year-old grandmother I once met at a community circle. Lorraine had 3 adult children, all with busy lives and their own families. One day her youngest son called her in tears. He had lost his job again. Without thinking, she offered to cover his rent. That one decision turned into months of financial support, daily phone calls, emotional stress, and even arguments with her other children who thought she was enabling him. When she finally pulled back, she told me, "I realized I was trying to fix his life so I wouldn't have to face my own. I was afraid of what my days would feel like if I wasn't constantly taking care of someone else." That hit me because how many women feel that same fear? Here is the truth. Your children are not projects. They are people, grown people, capable people. They are allowed to struggle. They are allowed to fall and to get back up. When you stop trying to carry them, you give them the space to grow stronger and you give yourself the space to rest. This does not mean you stop loving them. It means you start trusting them, trusting that you raised them well, trusting that they are walking their own path, and trusting that it is okay for you to walk yours too. So, if you are spending your days in constant concern over their choices, their challenges, or their chaos, I invite you to pause, take a breath, and remember you are allowed to put down what is not yours to carry. It is time to stop parenting out of fear and start loving from a distance that honors your peace. That is not selfish. That is sacred. 2. Do not dismiss your health as just getting older. Too many women in their 60s and 70s treat their bodies like an afterthought. They brush off pain, skip doctor appointments, avoid movement, and tell themselves, well, that is just what happens when you get older. No, that is not what happens. That is what happens when you stop listening to your body. Your body is not betraying you. It is trying to get your attention. And you, my dear, deserve to feel well, not just not sick, but well, energized, comfortable, safe in your own skin. Let me tell you about Margaret, a retired school teacher I met during a wellness retreat. She was 69 when she finally went to the doctor about a persistent ache in her hip. It turned out to be a degenerative joint issue that could have been managed years earlier. Instead, it now required surgery. "I thought I was just getting stiff because of age," she said, her voice filled with regret. "But really I was ignoring the whispers until they turned into screams." This is what so many women do. We spend our younger years caring for everyone else, feeding, cleaning, working, sacrificing, and when we finally have time to care for ourselves, We have no idea how, but you can learn. It starts with small, loving choices. Drink more water. Go for a walk every day. Get a full night of rest, not just sleep, but rest. Stretch your body gently in the morning. Make your doctor appointments and keep them. Find movement that feels joyful, like dancing in the kitchen or gardening or tai chi in the park. And just as importantly, care for your emotional health. Let go of grudges. Journal. Talk to someone if you feel lonely. Watch things that make you laugh. Laugh more often, because here is the real truth. Your health is not just physical, it is spiritual, it is emotional. It is the way your mind, your heart, and your body come together to support the life you are still living. It is never too late to start caring for yourself better, and every small change adds up. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are not out of time. Your body has carried you through so much. Now it is time to carry it with love. 3. Stop apologizing for choosing yourself. There is something many older women struggle with, and it is this: the guilt of finally choosing themselves. After decades of putting others first, saying yes to every request, showing up for every crisis, and making space for everyone else's needs, the idea of saying no feels wrong, even selfish. But choosing yourself is not selfish. It is revolutionary. You were not born to be everyone's safety net. You were not put on this earth to keep the peace at the cost of your own. Your value does not come from how much you give, or how much you tolerate, or how much you sacrifice. You are allowed to say, I do not want to go. You are allowed to say, I need space. You're allowed to rest, to dream, to do nothing at all. You are allowed to take up space in your own life. I once met a woman named Cheryl. She was 73 years old and had spent her entire life saying yes. Yes to extra babysitting. Yes to community boards. Yes to church committees. Yes to dinner parties she did not enjoy. One day, her doctor told her she was at risk for burnout. At 73, I never knew. I was allowed to say no, she told me. Now every time I do, I feel both guilty and free. The freedom is real, and it gets easier with practice. So if you find yourself apologizing for resting, stop. If you find yourself over-explaining your decisions, pause. If you are worried someone will not like you if you set a boundary, ask yourself, what kind of love needs me to abandon myself? You have paid your dues. You have done the hard work. Now is your time. A season of softness, of clarity, of peace. You do not owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. You do not have to shrink to make others feel comfortable. This is your life, and you deserve to live it with dignity, joy, and yes, freedom. 4. Do not cling to one-sided family ties. Family is a powerful word. It brings to mind Sunday dinners, birthday cards, shared history, and a sense of belonging. But as we grow older, we begin to see family not just through the lens of blood, but through the lens of truth. Some relatives love you deeply. Others only remember you when they need something, and it is painful to admit, but it is also freeing. Many women in their 60s and beyond cling to toxic or one-sided relationships out of duty. They keep calling the daughter who never calls back. They continue sending money to the nephew who never says thank you. They host gatherings for people who barely show up with kindness. Why? Because they feel it is what they should do. But let me gently say this. Should is not the same as love. Love, real love, feels like respect. It feels like safety. It feels mutual. You are allowed to stop chasing people who drain your spirit, even if they are family. You're allowed to love someone and still set boundaries. You are allowed to create emotional distance without guilt. Let me share the story of Diane. Diane is a 68-year-old widow who spent the last decade trying to stay close to her younger sister, even though the relationship had grown toxic. Her sister criticized her weight, dismissed her health concerns, and only called when she needed money. One day, Diane said, I realized I wasn't keeping the relationship alive. I was keeping it on life support. She stopped calling. She stopped explaining. She chose peace. And her peace grew louder than her guilt. This is not about cutting people out of your life out of anger. It is about choosing emotional safety, even in the places that once felt like home. Because blood does not entitle anyone to your time, your money, your peace, or your heart. If you are holding on to a family tie that hurts more than it heals, ask yourself, if this person were not related to me, Would I allow them this much access to my life? You deserve relationships that give back. You deserve love that lifts you. You deserve peace in your own home, even if that means changing who sits at your table. 5. Do not lose yourself in social obligations. Somewhere along the way, many women are taught that being busy equals being valuable. We say yes to every lunch, every volunteer role, every phone call, every errand, every get-together, even when we are exhausted. But busy is not the same as connection. And staying socially active is not the same as being emotionally nourished. It is a quiet trap. This need to prove that we are still relevant, still useful, still welcome. But in chasing connection through constant activity, we often lose the deeper connection with ourselves. Let me tell you about Janice. At 65, she joined nearly every local group in her community. A book club, a hiking group, a knitting circle, a church committee. At first, it felt good. She was surrounded by people. Her calendar was full, and there was always somewhere to be. But after a few months, she told me, I was surrounded by people, but still felt incredibly lonely. I was doing all the right things, but I wasn't feeding my soul. That moment of awareness is powerful because it teaches us that not all socializing is meaningful. Some conversations feel like hugs, others feel like noise. You do not have to attend every invitation. You do not have to prove your worth through activity. You can build a smaller circle, a slower life, a deeper sense of joy, and that is more than enough. Think about the people who make you feel calm when you leave their presence not drained. Those are the people to keep close. And more importantly, learn to enjoy your own company. Silence is not empty. It is sacred. In that quiet, you hear your thoughts, you hear your needs, you hear your truth. A peaceful life is not a lonely life. It is a life designed with intention. So, if you are feeling overwhelmed by your own calendar, ask yourself, am I doing this out of joy or out of obligation? Your time is precious. Now spend it with people and in places that return your light. 6. Do not neglect your financial freedom. Let us talk about money. It is not always an easy subject, especially for women who were raised to be polite, selfless, or dependent. But now more than ever, your financial freedom matters. After 60, many women live on fixed incomes. Some are widowed, some are divorced, others never managed the family finances at all. But no matter your story, you deserve to feel safe, secure, and confident in your financial future. Financial peace is not about having millions of dollars. It is about knowing that you can take care of yourself when life throws you a curveball. And it will. A health scare, a house repair, an emergency trip to see family. These things happen, and without savings, without clarity, they can bring anxiety, fear, even shame. So how do you protect yourself? Start simple. Track your expenses for 1 month. Look at where your money goes. Identify what matters. Cancel what no longer serves you. Build a small emergency fund. Even $100 set aside can make a difference. Talk to a financial advisor, even just once. It is never too late to learn. Ask questions. Make a plan. Stay curious, not embarrassed. Let me tell you about Teresa. She is 72 and had never looked at her retirement accounts. Her late husband had always handled the money. After he passed, she was overwhelmed. She kept giving money to her adult son, unsure of what she even had left for herself. With the help of a financial coach at her local senior center, Teresa learned how to create a budget, invest safely, and set gentle boundaries with her son. I finally feel like I own my life again, she told me. And that is the point. Financial freedom is not about control. It is about ownership. Ownership of your time, your energy, your dignity. And yes, sometimes that means saying no to others. No to borrowing money. No to shared cell phone plans. No to being the family bank. Not because you are cold, but because your safety comes first. You have given so much for so long. Now is the time to make sure that you have enough left for you. 7. Do not use anger as a weapon in your family. There is something unspoken. That happens to many women after 60. It starts quietly, like a storm far away. A small frustration here, a sarcastic comment there, a sigh, a slammed door, a silence that lasts just a little too long. You see, when you have spent a lifetime giving love, giving support, giving your time, your body, your identity, there is bound to be residue, And if that giving was not always appreciated or returned, it can become a silent grief. That grief left unspoken often wears the mask of anger. It may show up in short tempers with your adult children, in harsh words to your partner, in passive-aggressive comments over dinner, in moments where you suddenly feel like a stranger in your own home, the one you built. But here is the truth. Your anger is not the problem. Your anger is the messenger. It is trying to tell you something. I feel unseen. I feel unvalued. I feel tired of holding it all together. That pain is real. You are not being dramatic. You are not being mean. You are human. And your heart, like any heart, can only hold so much before it begins to spill over. But here's where the wisdom comes in. You do not have to let that pain hurt the people you love. Anger does not make you strong. What makes you strong is knowing how to pause, breathe, and choose differently, even when it is hard. I once knew a woman named Evelyn, a 76-year-old grandmother, who had always been the rock of her family. After her husband died, she became the default leader, the one everyone called in crisis, the one who planned holidays, the one who knew what to do. But deep down, Evelyn was exhausted and lonely. And when her children did not seem to appreciate her, she began to lash out, snapping during phone calls, criticizing their choices, shutting down emotionally. She said things she regretted, things that widened the space between them. One day her granddaughter said gently, "Grandma, I miss the way you used to listen to me." That broke Evelyn open. She started therapy. She started journaling. And most of all, she started softening. Not just toward others, but toward herself. She realized that underneath her anger was grief, and underneath her grief was love. When she spoke again to her children, it was not with blame, but with honesty. She said, "I have felt invisible, but I do not want to be angry anymore. I want us to feel close again." And they did. Because when a woman chooses vulnerability over control, she invites healing. If you find yourself in conflict with those you love, if your words sting, if your tone has become hard, do not shame yourself. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, what do I really need right now? Affection, respect, help? Then find a softer way to ask for it. You deserve to feel heard. You deserve kindness, but you also have the power to offer it first. Let your anger guide you toward truth, not destruction. You are still the emotional center of your family. Let that center be rooted not in fear, but in grace, not in control, but in love. 8. Do not forget who you are beneath the labels. There is a question. I wish every woman over 60 would sit with quietly like a prayer. Who am I now that no one needs me in the same way? It is a tender question, one that stirs emotions most of us keep buried. Because for decades we've been needed constantly as mothers, as wives, as daughters, as workers, as caretakers, as hosts, helpers, listeners, peacemakers. And when those roles shift or fade, when the kids move out, the partner passes, the house gets quiet, many women feel lost, like they've been laid off from their own identity. But here's the truth most women forget. Before you were a mother, before you were a wife, before you were anyone else's anything, you were you. And that woman, the one who danced barefoot in the kitchen, the one who stayed up dreaming, the one who sang out loud or scribbled poetry, in the margins of notebooks, she is still in there. She's not gone. She's just waiting to be remembered. I once met a woman named Leona. She was 78 and had just moved into a smaller apartment after her husband passed. Her grown children lived hours away. At first she said, "I don't know what to do with myself anymore." But little by little, she began to explore what she wanted, not what was expected. She bought a set of acrylic paints. She joined a local library club. She walked every morning in the park. She tried sushi for the first time at 79, and most importantly, she started writing a memoir not for the world but for herself. She said, "For the first time, I'm not living as someone's wife or someone's mother. I'm just Leona, and I'm starting to like her. This is your time to meet yourself again. To explore the things that make you feel alive, not productive, not useful, but alive. Try something new. Or revisit something old you had forgotten you loved. Go to the museum alone, take yourself on a date, read the book you thought was too silly, say what you really think. Wear what feels beautiful, not what feels expected." Because aging does not mean disappearing. Aging means becoming. You are not an afterthought. You are not past your prime. You're not invisible. You're a woman in full bloom if you dare to be. And if anyone, even that voice in your own head, tells you it is too late, you tell them this: I'm just getting started. The wisdom of returning to yourself. If you have listened this far, then maybe, just maybe, you felt something stir inside you. Not a loud voice, not a command, just a whisper. A whisper that says, come back to yourself, not the version of you who always said yes. Not the one who stayed quiet to keep the peace. Not the one who put everyone else first for so many years that she forgot what her own dreams even sounded like. Come back to the you before the roles, before the losses, before the world told you what you should be. Come back to the woman you were always meant to become. Because this season of your life, it is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of something holy. The truth is, after 60, life does not shrink, it deepens. You may move slower, but your presence is stronger. You may speak less, but your words carry more weight. You may not be needed in the same ways, but you are more needed than ever by the world, and most of all by you. You are not fading, you're focusing. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. And inside that opening is wisdom, beauty, grace, and the soft, steady light of a woman who is no longer proving anything. She is just living fully, freely, fiercely. So to every woman listening, whether you are 61 or 84, this is your reminder. You are not behind, you are not too late, and you are never, ever alone. You are still growing, still capable of joy, still worthy of every good thing. Let this be the chapter where you stop waiting for permission and start writing your own story with gentleness, with courage, and with the kind of love that begins from within. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message touched your heart, pass it along to a sister, a friend, a mother, a daughter, because sometimes the most powerful thing we can offer one another is the reminder that we still matter, that we are still here, and that our story is far from over. Until next time, live slowly and love deeply.